like Christmas in our nation's capital. A cold, wet day today, but we're inside at Capital One Arena as the Georgetown Hoyas come back home and try to stay hot against the Retrievers of UMBC. We'll talk about it during the night, but the starting lineup sponsored by Jeep Grand Cherokee. We've seen Georgetown go to Terrell Allen quite a bit. He's played a lot, and he's done a very good job of settling this team in. Mac McClung has been a big part of what's happened over the last 3 games for the Hoyas. On the other side, UMBC, this is their 13th game. It is their 10th different starting lineup tonight. All of that due to injuries. They are now up to well above 30 games lost by players to injury in the early part of just falling. He said both.
Well, as I alluded to in the open, it's been textbook ball movement. You see a little.
And being open, spreading the floor, that's what UMBC wants to be as a team. They just haven't the same lineup on the floor all that often. McClung can't hit. Big rebound from the big man. You're at 7. As you move on, it's another year. You want to come up with different memories made for this team, but it's something that they'll always embrace. Off the miss inside, sluggish offensively on both sides here in the opening 3 minutes.
Well, Patrick Ewing said that he wants to see if his team can continue to play as well as down to the level of their opponents. You know, let's face it, they're supposed to beat UMBC. The question is whether or not they come out consistently. Looks pretty good so far.
They're off to the right start. And he has stepped up to be exactly what these Hoyas need right now, given the circumstances. Off the miss.
Horvath had a decent look at the basket, kind of threw it up there, almost fearful of the block.
Little cut down from the baseline, and it was Allen once. Spazijevich inside, and his shot blocked away by Wahab.
A nice 10-footer on the baseline.
0 for 7 from the floor and 3 turnovers so far for UMBC. That one won't fall. Lit on the basket, but we've got contact in a season.
I talk about Pickett.
Pickett just 1 out of 2. As a team, they shoot 45% on the year. Similar numbers to Georgetown from the floor. Now Pickett on the fadeaway, got it.
From Pickett.
Spazijevich just got his 2nd foul. And along the inside, you're at 7, but not.
Now you have got to find a way to get to the free throw line. You've got to drive. You can't settle for jumpers unless they're wide open.
Outside, it's Jackson. Got it. First points of the game come just over. Help settle things down for this team. Nathan Johnson, a freshman, waiting for the ball around the 3-point arc, but instead.
You see, he's a sorely needed presence out there. You know, maybe that'll help deepen their squad.
And he said early on, you know, the younger players, they're not really sure of what we do, and that's not their fault. They're kind of rushed into a situation here they weren't necessarily expected to be in as you're at 7.
BC, you're not knocking shots down on one end. You've got to really be meticulous on the defensive end, and that includes blocking out one of the best rebounders in the country.
L.J. Owens from down. And you're at 7 inside. He's now got 8 to go.
You got to do your homework early. You got to take that spot away. Don't let your 7 feel you. Make him look over his shoulder, and you got to get some help. Nice pass.
Baseline cut, and Owens, good patience as he allowed. 6 turnovers now for UMBC. They average about 14 a game. That's your fadeaway jump.
And again, he brings a bunch of experience as a senior.
Blair from the outside nails the three.
And as they weren't falling early in the season, you know, you get hot, and the only way that happens is if you keep shooting.
Jackson on the drive, tough angle on the shot, but the foul call is
point-blank range.
And hit the bottom of the backboard, and another turnover for the Retrievers. Good floor spacing, a little late on the pass. When you're that hot, it doesn't matter.
All finding the open man, and when guys are coming to you and expecting you to knock it down, when you got the talent McClung has, you ultimately fulfill that promise.
And
sorry about that. I was at the end of my career. That's easy.
Wow. Didn't look. Owens has the last 7 points for UMBC. Love to get somebody else in on the act. Horvath had it rejected. Still 10 left to shoot. Kennedy, big time move down the lane, gets hit hard, and he's going
to take the bump as Kennedy did to get length of guys like Pickett, Allen, and even Mosley on the perimeter. Nice job.
Good quick hands. Idle Rock got the steal, waiting for reinforcements now. Boy, they are really challenging out at the three-point line. They couldn't get there.
Allowed a real quick pass and an open look. So got to communicate better.
Don't look now. It's a 7-0 run. Allen, little runner, and that'll bring a major problem for this team this year. Something they've got to avoid, and there's another foul, and a chance at a three-point play. Owens now with 10 before halftime.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Georgetown, you can be philosophical and say, look, UMBC is not a bad team. They're going to make a run. But what's the call?
Here at 7, squared up beautifully along the
step outside. He can post you up. Pretty good shot blocker as well, an outstanding offensive rebounder.
Idle Rock, little floater. And the putback is there. Cutting inside.
Guys in the black shirts on the floor actually calling for the ball instead of shying away when they weren't hitting.
They were down 14-0 if you tuned in late. Blair, little scoop shot. It came wide open for him down the three.
A little quick on that shot.
McClung. And pretty quiet here offensively in the first.
Georgetown maybe losing a little defensive focus. Patrick Ewing called a timeout to try to help his team regain that focus.
Horvath down the lane, uses the glass, and gets
where there's a driving lane and putting pressure on the defense.
Only the third ever meeting between these teams. First time they've met since the 2008 NCAA tournament. And a putback. Good position again for Yurt.
You're at 7. One of the outstanding offensive rebounders, averaging 4.3, 6th in the nation in offensive rebounding. You'd think somebody would put a body on him.
He's already got 4 in less than a half here tonight. Here's a foul call on the reach on Blair. 7. You start getting beyond 7 here for.
Jackson's in McClung's head right now. And McClung seems a little bit hesitant, confused.
But Jackson throws it away. And now, great hustle back to the other side.
And here, even on the turnover, look at Jackson fly down thing.
As we said, he's a senior. That's going to be a blocking foul.
Starting position. It looked like he did a pretty good job. That would have been better off with a no call.
Nice. That's a terrific look from McClung inside.
When we talked about this team with chemistry, ball movement, and execution, guys are looking for each other.
Hawken, there was no way he was going to keep that ball away from Yurt 7. Back down the other end. Kind of an out-of-control shot from Blair. That's Kennedy for 3. And Blair just ended up losing the rebound. Horvath came in and took it away from him. Again from outside, and again, Kennedy can't hit. So you've got a 3-second differential between game and shot clock.
Again, moving.
You've got yourself a healthy 16-point lead right now. Has to take one more shot and get to the locker room. McClung got it. With a shot clock at 1, he buries it. And Georgetown will go to the locker room 1 point shy of their biggest lead of the game, up 18. The Retrievers right now trailed by as many as 19 in the first half. Owens, McClung got it from behind, and that could be a foul call. If that's the case,
at this stage, a great defensive player, but
down the rebound. And the Hoyas once again in transition. They feed the post. And your 7 gets the friendly.
It's just playing right behind it. And heck, I could score even at this advanced stage if you're going to give me that.
Long-range 3 started the year with a ton of depth.
Well, this is a good laboratory, recognizing the score, and not to take anything away from UMBC, but, you know, recognizing the opponent. You know, this is a good place for Georgetown to experiment how to play with.
Begins in terms of Big East play, and it looks like the conference could be a heck of a battle this year, maybe more wide open than it's been at any time since they restructured the Big East. They're at 7. That's a nice touch. Spazievich. That's a nice move, and he draws the contact from.
You know, when I talked about him stretching the defense.
Spazievich makes a pair. Long arm of Jamarco Pickett saving the possession. Shot clock winding down, though, and a turnover. Jackson turned right back over as Mosley jumped in to poke it away.
Just outstanding.
Great look.
Outstanding anticipation. But Georgetown showing a glimpse of some of the things they certainly will have to do getting into Big East play.
And you're at 7.
Cuts off the lane. He's had good instinct, no question.
Jackson gets to 30 points now with under 15 minutes left to go. You said this is a Retrievers team that. Oh my!
Wow! And caught the ball. He's moving right there before he catches it. He sees the lane. And highlight film, Mac McClung. Fellas, he said, yeah, that McClung kid's got good legs.
Yeah, he does.
Really?
Along the inside, almost too easy now.
Ball. Hopefully, he can get the rest of his team to do that, particularly young players.
Once again, good ball movement. That leads to another.
Your talent level. From an execution standpoint, you've got to be able to help out, take away those driving lanes.
And another block. Chance at another run out. Hoyas trying to get their 8th win of the year. Jammer himself, Mac McClung.
Yeah, Shirt 7's first double-double since November 7th.
You flex your muscle. And again, you try to come up with what this team is going to be the rest of the way after a radical change to what they are. That's working. Limping off right before the most recent timeout.
Not only his calf, it looks like his upper thigh as well. You wonder if that's either Charlie horse or cramp.
As we said, a UMBC team that has been very good inside the America East. Trying now for a 4th straight 20-win season.
This is experience. Had an opportunity to take his time and really power up.
Jackson, good look inside, and Akin came wide open. To this game, 1 for 4 lifetime. As we said, he might end up getting some playing time in spots with the shorter bench now as a runner. One of the other questions I have for you when you start playing in terms of 7-man rotations is, well, how on?
Well, it depends again on the ultimate score. You know, whether there's a lot of not only physical intensity but mental. Yeah, there's a possibility that you do wear down. And then you have to be more judicious in practice. Only an advantage for players, and she obviously.
She ball here in the second half. Blair wanted wanted the contact and the call, and he got it. He's going to the first.
As you're going to have to count on, as you mentioned, Scott. Play.
And as we said, conference play. On a spin along the inside. High off the education in playing this game. He's got 10 points and 8 boards.
Yeah, he's shown some promise right now, and those are the guys that will be counted upon to help buttress the 7-man rotation.
Horvath, in a very young career, his new career high. And right back to work. That's a good move along the inside. Just lost the handle on the ball. And we come up on 5 minutes left to go in the game. Owens wanted a whistle. He's not getting it. And it's 71-43. You probably won't hear a lot of them. That's another pretty nook. Horvath. Little bounce pass. And an easy two.
Right now, this last 4 minutes or so, UMBC, this is playing for their conference as well. Let's try to execute. You know, we're down a ton. Next game.
The next game for them is on Saturday at George Mason. There's your skip pass. Big man's got a rebound again. Can't get it and pushes off on the offensive.
And Butler have been playing. Butler number 4 in that evaluation.
That's a gaudy number.
Absolutely. And who would have expected it with some of the losses that they suffered?
We talked about the retrievers down the lane.
I mean, that's what a coach has to do right now. He's got to get his guys to recognize, okay, let's win this last 3 minutes, and let's execute the way we know how.
There's a debut for Timothy Inkoefe. Almost had himself an assist.
Yeah, nice, fundamentally sound bounce pass. Just a missed layup.
Freshman out of Nigeria, 6'11", 240. And he got his first rebound.
You got to be happy, and the coach has to be impressed. You get in here and you make your presence known immediately.
Depth as you move into January and February.
Yeah, again, loss of 4 players who Patrick Ewing told us they considered them the core of their future plans, their building blocks. So now you got to have a plan B, and that's going to include guys you may have to rush them along, guys that you thought you had time to develop. You got to learn on the job.
Well, so far, the new configuration for the Hoyas is working. That's Council on the outside. And a big win out west at Oklahoma State. A big win against SMU. And then a 10-point win here on Saturday against Syracuse. This one was a blowout from the first moments. Inkoefe can't get it to go.
Can't get it to go, but you can't stop shooting when you have an open look. So let's see what happens next. You know, this is one of those games, as we said, builds confidence as you move into Big East play.
Inside the final 90 seconds. Blair with a rebound. Well, his motor hasn't turned down at all. That might have been a travel, but no harm, no foul. Kennedy, a little wrap around. Games before we get to Big East play. Samford and American.
And let's be honest, they are winnable games for Georgetown. But they have to continue to play the way they're playing. And, you know, good scheduling to build that confidence, utilizing those 2 teams as building blocks before you meet.
As we said, from Nigeria, big man school that's going on here, school within a school at Georgetown.
Yeah, and you know what? It's the barometer of his teaching capability. You see him right there, these young bigs.
Big Hoefe with his first points, and now back to...
Obviously, we've seen your 7. You know, these guys improve because they've got a terrific teacher. And you can bet nobody but Patrick Ewing puts a stamp on those big men.
Time winding down. Efficient night for Georgetown. They jumped out to a 14-point lead, led by 18 at the break. And they win it tonight by a score of 81-55. Handshakes and congratulations as Georgetown wins their 8th of the year. Let's send it back now to Rob Stone and Steve Lavin in Los Angeles.